All right. I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of Getting to Know Carrville Baptist Church. Roll both R's, emphasize the Ville, Carrville Baptist Church. And we're here with Steve and Charlene Schieferstein. They are going to be the first in a series of church members that we interview, ask questions, in an effort for us to get to know one another better and to hear their story of how God put them together, how God brought them to Christ, what Christ has done in their lives individually and collectively as a couple, as one flesh in God's sight, and how they serve Carrville and what they did for a living or do. I know Steve is fully retired, whatever that means, and Charlene is part-time retired, meaning she works when she wants to, and we'll find out what they do for fun, a couple of strange or fun facts about them that you might not know, and we'll close out with what is their dream or their vision for what they would like to see God do here at Carrville Baptist Church. So welcome, Steve, Charlene. Y'all can say hello.
Great to be here.
Hello. Glad to be here.
So Steve and Charlene, what are your children's names?
Our daughter is JC Williams, and our son is Adam Schieferstein. JC's married to Brett Williams, and Adam is married to Danielle Jones Schieferstein. JC's got two children, Maggie and Price, and then Adam's got three, Hunter, Clayton, and Dylan.
Wow. 5 grandkids.
Yes.
You're not proud grandparents, are you?
Most of the time.
So, names and everything. How long have y'all been members here at Carrville?
Since 1990, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there, because JC was 10 or 11 when we came. Yeah,
So y'all seen a lot of changes.
we have.
Been here a while.
hmm
So now, how long have y'all been married?
We got married in November 1977,
77.
so it'll be 48 years in November.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
We ain't made it to November yet, so.
Close enough, brother, close enough. Now, were both of you believers when y'all met and got married?
Well, he was a Catholic, and I was a backslidden believer,
Okay.
if you want to be truthful. I mean, that's the way we met, because we met in a nightclub in Montgomery.
Met in a nightclub.
Mm-hmm. He was.
What brought both of you to the nightclub?
I was in a road band and played in Montgomery a couple times. And where I met her was at the Spread. She had seen me earlier at another place, Crockmeyer's.
Didn't even realize it till after we got to talking, though.
Yeah. And by the way, I was brought up a Catholic, you know. Mom and Dad were staunch Catholics and everything, but that didn't mean that, you know, I was living like a Catholic. If I could say that.
You said that, I didn't.
I know it. You know, but you know, I was just in a road band. I met her, and one thing led to another, and I asked her to marry me. In Atlanta, wasn't it?
No.
I always get that
It
wrong.
wasn't that way, no. Anyway, I was out there with Connie Moon, who, you know, recently passed away. She was my roommate, Connie Stallnaker, at the time. And we both worked downtown Montgomery, and we just knew people.
Wait, you and Connie shared an apartment?
We were good
wow.
roommates. We had a good time. We did. It was a lot of fun. But we just went out with friends, usually on Thursday night. It was a Thursday night that we met, and he asked me to marry him at the same place where we met, at the Spread. But his proposal was, if I ask you to marry me, would you?
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah, and then he had to ask my dad.
Which was a total trip that her father, when I first met her, she brought him to the club in Selma we were playing at. And he had this doorway where you come into the dance hall and stuff like that, and the stage is up there. And there used to be a light to come through that doorway while we were playing. Well, the light disappeared, and there was this big old guy in the doorway. And I thought, this ain't going to go well, because he was an iron worker, a big old iron worker kind of guy. But fortunately, we hit it off that night, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good when you hit it off with your father-in-law.
Ooh, especially a big old guy like he was, too.
Yeah. But we dated for about 1.5 years and then got married.
Yeah.
So.
Well, how did you come to know the Lord, Steve?
Well, I was at Grace Bible Church one time, and well, that's where we went. And
So when y'all got married, y'all at least attended church in some way.
After we moved to Tallahassee.
Yeah.
After we moved back to Tallahassee, we started going to Grace Bible. Papa's still going there, Mom was going there, my mom and granddaddy. Mm-hmm. And I just felt compelled to walk the aisle. So I walked the aisle and went up and was convicted for my sins for about a week. And it didn't take long for me to go back to where I was to begin with. So it didn't really take. But you want me to go when?
Yeah.
When I was? Well,
Yes, sir.
I've always said this one of the fun facts about me is I love to drink beer. And a lot of it in a shorter period of time. And I got home from work, and I was sitting up at the back patio, minding my own business. God was as far as the thing from my mind. I had other things going on, other things thinking about. Charlene wasn't there. And I try to down as many as I can before she gets home from work. I put a couple in the refrigerator, like I bought a 6-pack or something. But actually I was working on the 3rd 6-pack by the time she got home. But anyway, I heard this voice. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I had no answer. And I felt this feeling of shame come over me. And I don't know if it was a whisper, if I thought it, or what it was, but all I could hear was, what are you doing and why are you doing this? And I had no answer. And it was like something really hit me. And it was God. And he sneak attacked me. He did, because he come all the way from left field. I wasn't expecting it. And I just stopped what I was doing. I called my boss and I said, listen, we need to go see HR in the morning. I'm an alcoholic and I need help.
All in one afternoon.
All in one, yeah. Now, I wasn't done yet either. I just got started. And he said, well, Steve, I knew you drank a couple of beers. I said, no, you have no idea. And so then I called Charlene.
I was at the grocery store by then.
And I talked to her and waited for her to come home. And I just opened up to her. And the devil did his best. I wanted to go someplace and get fixed. So we interviewed with Warrior or I forget the name of the
Warrior.
place.
It was Bradford at
Bradford,
Warrior.
yeah. And they couldn't get a bed up in Warrior because everything was full. Devil was doing his best for me not to go. Matter of fact, the woman asked me, so why don't you do an outpatient? We have a place in Bradford, my God. I said, are you kidding? I drink a 6-pack on the way there and a 6-pack on the way home. I said, that ain't going to work. I need help. And so I went for a couple of weeks or so. And but it was all God. It wasn't the fact that I quit drinking that changed my life. I mean, that was part of it. But God changed my life because I couldn't do that by myself.
Mm.
There was no way. It was bigger than me. And she had been praying, her and her lady's been praying for me for a long time. And she wrote in her diary about a year before I did that or something, didn't you?
It's a Bible study.
Yeah. That she let go, said, got to give it to you, I can't do it.
What year was this?
2004. May 2004.
So
May
this
the
has been
12th,
since you've been
2000.
here.
Huh?
This has been since you've been here.
Yeah. Yeah, at the old church on Sims. Yeah.
What about you, Charlene? When did you described yourself as a backslidden believer?
I was a believer. I walked the aisle at 12 years old, and God just never let me go, you know. And when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, it really was a come to Jesus meeting. You know, God, I can't handle this without you. And so I was truly saved at that time. Practically, it was really in the halls of the hospital after he was diagnosed. And I haven't been a great servant until later. At the time that God got hold of him, I was serving. I was doing what God wanted me to do. I had a good prayer life, and God had kept me in the marriage. There were times when I thought, I've got to go, but God, he gave me a dream one night. If you leave, your children, you'll miss your children a lot. And I was given a dream of them getting on an airplane and going to Fort Wayne, because he probably would have gone home if I had left. And so it's just been a journey. But I was rebaptized in 2010, and this is something, my mother died on, it was April 10, 2010. And I was baptized the next day, rebaptized, because we had been learning and getting sermons on, you're supposed to do it in the right order. You get saved and then you're baptized. Well, I walked the aisle and I was baptized, but I had not lived like I should. And so I felt like God was telling me, you need to make this profession of faith again, to tell everybody you're doing it right this time. And so even though I had been serving and knew I was saved, I felt like I needed to make a public confession that I was doing it right. I was doing it for God. But he's just brought us through so much that there's just no words. Just no words. The financial hardships from his drinking, and just the ups and downs with the kids, because he was an absent father for most of their growing up times, and nothing but God. That's what's got us here.
And I was baptized at Grace Bible Church, but I was baptized again here at Carrville, because I was baptized because that was what I felt I needed to do at Grace Bible. I was baptized here because I wanted people to know that I was serious about my change in my life, and that I wasn't, I wanted people to know without a fact.
So you would say you were truly saved, not the first time, but the second time.
Yes.
And if I heard you right, you said the same thing, that you were.
Yeah, I was one of those I was a follower, and I was a worker, but as far as being told, how do you say when you're truly saved, when God puts a call on your life and keeps calling you back? And that's one of the things that I've thought about all these years. As a 12-year-old, I don't know that I was truly saved, but I do know that I came to know who God truly was. When did I truly, truly accept him? Through what I've gone through, I just know he's there, and I know he saved me. And so I know you made a comment that sometimes we don't really know our new birthday. I know the day that God called me, but do I truly know the day that it was like he had the experience? I don't have that. I just know I've grown in my faith, and I know he loves me and I love him.
Now, since y'all been at Carrville a long time, not to date you or anything, not to make you feel old, how do you serve? Now, good old Steve here, we see him every Sunday as he either plays the saxophone, the keyboard, or sings or leads us in worship. You're more behind the scenes, do things kind of busy behind the scenes that a lot of people see. Doesn't mean it's less important. It's just not a lot of people see it unless you're around here a lot.
I'm not famous like he is.
Oh, please.
Or infamous.
Yeah.
So, Steve, what other ways do you serve here? Serve what God's doing here and serve the people and our ministries here at Carrville?
Well, I am a deacon. I was ordained here. I don't remember the date, to tell you the truth.
Gosh, Mike and Brandy were here
Yeah, it's been a long
at
time
the
ago.
old church.
But, you know, I do things in the background. You know, I help out, you know, like if they're doing something, you know, if I'm able, I'll help out behind the scenes, whether it's
Set up tables and
set
chairs
up
or take
tables
them
and
down?
chairs or help with
Be the
vacation
sound man for
Bible
the
school.
ladies.
Do what?
Be the sound man for the ladies.
Be the sound man for the ladies, and it just anything I can do.
Delivery man and food pantry.
Delivery man, food pantry, yes. Me and Nick.
You get to go with Nick and my son.
Yep. Yeah.
So, how about you, Charlene? How do you serve here?
Well, I'm part of the food pantry ministry. I teach the youth. I have led and hope to do so again ladies' Bible studies. I generally plan the ladies' ministries, and we are hoping to have a great conference on November the 8th. I have talked with our speaker, Ashley Smith, and she's got a great story, and she's agreed to come. We used to do a big, would you say it's a big drama on Good Friday that that told the story of the crucifixion, and I always directed that. I was the director of the children's plays for years and years. Even wrote several of them personally because of the size of our group. Sometimes plays just didn't fit. I work in extended care with the children. I lead a D-Life group, and
You also lead a D-Life group, don't you, Steve?
I do.
he does.
Mm-hmm.
And just whatever needs to be done, I'm open to helping, you know, as long as I can.
We were part of the Judgment House.
Yeah, we always
When
worked
we
in
had
Judgment House.
We always worked it.
Well, one thing I know, if we do something, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Steve and Charlene are going to sign up or show up. What do you need? Because I've only been here 4.5 years, but if I had a nickel for every time you've told me, what do you need? How can I help? So I really appreciate both
Hoping
of you.
and praying that you didn't have anything at the
Oh,
time.
I know.
I was going to say, well, if you need anything, I'll call somebody, see if I can get somebody to help out.
But you know, and I like to work with to help with the youth. I feel like I'm a little old now. I can't play and run like I used to could because my knees won't let me. But I enjoy the young people, and I really have a heart for the young women, the young ladies, and so this is one of my favorite places to be.
That's
It's in
good.
the church body.
Now, you mentioned calling your boss.
Mm-hmm.
When you called your boss, where did you work?
At Coca-Cola.
What did you do for the real thing?
I worked there for 25 years. I started out as a line mechanic, working on the machines on the line, and kind of like just threw me to the wolves. I had no idea what machine did what or why it did it. and if something broke, they fix it. And I just, okay, you know. And I absolutely hated it, worse than anything. But I stuck with it because I was out of work for about 6 months and I needed a job. And so opening come open for the parts clerk. It takes care of all the parts for the machines and inventory and stuff like that. And I did that starting in 1997. And I did that all the way up through 2020 when I retired.
And you were good at that job.
I was very good at it. And I designed my own parts room. I had people from different Coke places come look at my parts room. I even drew a design for one of the plant managers that he wanted to design his part room like mine. And matter of fact, when I retired, I was even talking about doing what is it when you go to different plants and consulting on parts rooms and how to set up parts rooms, stuff like that. The normal human being would not have retired because I went in at 8 o'clock in the morning, got off at 4:30. I didn't work overtime. I didn't do weekends. I had it down pat to a system to where I was always on top of things and everything was where everybody could find it.
And all he did was push a mouse and click on this and click on that to order stuff.
Yeah, that's all I did. And I retired.
But Steve is not a normal human being.
I am not. That's my wife.
Miss Charlene,
Yes.
what did, I'm going to say, what did you do that you still occasionally do?
Yeah. Well, I started straight out of business college as a runner for the law firm of Oakley Melton Junior Law Offices. And I made coffee and I answered the phone and I kept the books. And I was training for Joe Espy to come on as an attorney with Mr. Melton so I could be his legal secretary. And then through the years, I went to school and got my paralegal certification and eventually got my bachelor's degree from Huntington while I worked. And I was a firm paralegal, but during all that time, I remained Mr. Melton's secretary. When Steve and I got married, we first moved to Birmingham, and I was up there for a year. But when we came back, Mr. Melton hired me back as his secretary because Joe Espy had a secretary at the time, and Mr. Melton's secretary had retired. So I went back to work for the senior partner and stayed there for, was it 43 years, I think, when I retired. And I worked for the Alabama Soft Drink Association as Mr. Melton's executive assistant because he was general counsel for the Alabama Soft Drink Association. And I really enjoyed that. I got to help plan the conventions and travel and see things that I normally would not have gotten to see if I had not had that opportunity.
And I got to tag along.
Yeah. And then when I became, when I started doing all my paralegal work, I did a lot of the legal research and preparation of briefs and motions and things like that, and sitting in on client interviews. And I'll never forget when Mr. Melton and we had to do a brief for the Supreme Court. Now, this was before word processing. And you had a little square that you put on your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you had to type on your correcting selectric and stay within those borders that were on that, behind that piece of paper that you were typing on. It's because then you send it to a printer, not a copy shop, but a printer, and they cut the page to size because it was like a 4 by 6 page or something, I don't remember, that you sent to the Supreme Court. And it was the buttermilk case. I'll never forget it being the buttermilk case. But we had a lot of good cases like that, and I really enjoyed my work. I was active in the Montgomery Legal Secretaries Association and then in the Alabama Paralegals Association. And I had a good career and worked with some good people. And then Mark Bain became an attorney. As Mr. Melton slowed down, they brought on Mark as an attorney, and I got to work with him, and that was a privilege. So God gave me a good career.
And you still do occasional work for them?
I do. I work from home, though. They have me set up that I can work with them from home.
Now, so Steve, you are retired fully. You work in your wood shop.
I do.
What else do you do for fun? Or explain what you do in your wood shop, and then what else you do for fun.
Well, I make cutting boards, charcuterie boards. I even made coasters. Made some coasters and I did mention cornhole boards, right?
No.
No, you said
No,
cutting
okay.
boards.
Cutting boards, cornhole boards. Made a lot of them. And matter of fact, I just made a set for Adam in his place of business. I've done some for the bank, done some for electric company, and people like my work and they keep coming back.
Just a little brief testimonial. Your cornhole boards are custom made each time, and they're awesome.
Thank you.
I have a set. I love them. And
You're
your
the only
cutting
one
boards,
in the world that's got one like that.
and your cutting boards are top notch.
Thank you, thank you.
So use one every day. So you do that. You like working with your hands, and you like being creative.
Yes.
And so,
Keeps me out of my recliner.
and what do you do for fun, Miss Charlene?
Well, I enjoy my grandkids, especially Dylan, but, you know, he's in first grade now, so I don't get to see him very much, but he's always kept me on my toes. But I enjoy reading. I used to cross-stitch, but my vision's not quite as good as it used to be. And I used to love to exercise, but my knees aren't as good as they used to be, so I've had to slow down on that. But I do like to read, and I just like to be with my family. I do. And we like to go to movies, and we
Like to
play
camp.
dominoes, and we like to camp. Yeah.
So together y'all camp, play dominoes, and go to movies.
He
Yeah.
won't let me water ski anymore, so Adam kept telling me all summer, Mama, my boat will get you up. And I'm like, your dad would have a heart attack and my knees would probably collapse if I tried to water ski again.
I'd be hollering
so.
at her the whole time she was on them skis. Let go of the rope.
All right. What is a fun fact that not many people know about you? Charlene,
About me?
about you.
Gosh, well, my dream was always to be a dance teacher. So as I've gotten older, I don't think people remember me as a good tap dancer. You know, I love dancing, and that was what I wanted to do. And so that's one of the things that I tell my daughter is, you're living my dream, and I didn't even have to push you.
Because JC
Has a dance studio
owns
in
her own
Eclectic.
dance studio.
JC's Dance Dynamics, and that's why I go on Mondays. I get to hang out with the little girls and, you know, be crowd control for them. But yeah, I think that would be the fun fact is I was a pretty good dancer in my younger years. So.
She was.
What about you, Steve?
Well, you know, I'm pretty much an open book. My music, I mean, you know, I've always wanted to be famous. You know, ever since I started playing, when I got into the road band and stuff. And matter of fact, me and Charlene had talked about moving to Nashville and wondering what would happen if we ever moved up to Nashville. But my dream was, after I got saved and everything and start playing here, worship band, my big dream was to be like Casting Crowns and play in front of thousands of young screaming folks, you know, singing songs and stuff while I'm up there playing. But God has a sense of humor. He put me here at Carrville Baptist Church every Sunday.
Well, brother, everybody's famous in a small town, so you're good.
I had a question on that note.
What's that?
What was it that made you decide to quit the band that you were in?
Because when I quit drinking, I always, while I was in rehab, I was told, if you don't belong there, you don't need to be there. If you don't have a reason to be someplace, you don't need to be in that place. And I couldn't, and I started playing with Micah on guitar. I played congas, a little bit. That's how it gradually come about. And I didn't want to straddle both sides of the fence, because a quote, "The fence belongs to Satan." That was from Jason, Kenny's worker. I thought that was pretty neat. But I didn't want to do anything to ruin my witness here at church, and so I quit. And I have played in a band, wedding receptions, birthday parties and things like that. No club work or anything like that. I don't see how people can go out, play Friday and Saturday night, come to church and do it here, and they get paid for it too. So
Yeah.
I just don't. I couldn't see doing. Well, matter of fact, that's why I quit smoking, because I think it ruined my witness. So 2 years after I quit drinking, I quit smoking on Mother's Day.
And I didn't even know it, because he always
Yeah.
went outside to smoke. And our youth minister at the time, he and his wife came over to the house, and we were going to take them in the convertible over to the car show right across the river. And Steve says, "Haven't you noticed anything different about me?" And I was like, "Well, no." And Brandy's sitting beside me in the back seat. She's like, "He hadn't smoked for 2 weeks." I was like, I didn't even realize it. But he had always smoked
That's how
on
much
the.
he pays attention to me.
But he had always smoked on the back porch, and he would go outside,
Right.
occasionally. So I just wasn't. And he smoked in his truck on the way home, so I just totally missed it. So that's a fun fact about us. I didn't realize it.
Well, last question from me, unless Anthony wants to chime in. What is your dream vision? What would you like to see God do at Carrville?
I'm sure his vision's a lot bigger than mine, but I would love to see it filled with young families and see the kids running up and down the hallway, so we have to go, "Don't run, stop," I just think that would be wonderful, and I want to see our people start serving with a heart that brings glory to God. I just believe if we get the right attitude, God's going to do great things here, because he didn't give us this building for nothing. And it needs to be filled up for his glory, not for ours.
Mr. Steve?
Basically the same thing. I would love to see a lot of people here in church, and we need some youth. We need some young people here. And I would love to see everybody get involved,
Yes.
not just a special few. I would love to see everybody get involved and be
Family.
be a family. We're a close family now, and we're a loving church, but we can be a whole lot more. With if more people would get involved.
And this might be something you want to edit off, but Steve and I have big dreams ourselves sometimes, because we were going to Indiana, and he'd already read the Zach Williams book, and I was reading it up there, and it's so much of our life was in it. His is on a larger scale, but he was talking about going to a church on Sunday afternoons, and it was kind of like for the misfits, the ones who don't feel like they need to be with the church people on Sunday morning because they don't fit in, because they don't look at themselves the way God does yet. And we got to say it would be so neat to have a backdoor church to meet on Sunday afternoons, and just have them pull around and come in the gym or the youth room or wherever, and just talk about God. And salvation start happening in the community that thinks they don't have anywhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be an awesome thing. And I hope that we'll become that church, that we become the church where people know they can come.
We had tried Celebrate Recovery here too. We did it for about a year, maybe.
Yeah, but we
We had a few people, and maybe about a dozen, I think. And it didn't last because
well, the people of the church didn't know what it was all about because we didn't have it introduced the way it was supposed to be introduced.
Okay.
And but it was the people who came. It taught me a lot. I mean, it's not just for those who have addiction problems. It's for those who are going through grief or who have bad marriages.
codependent problems.
But it taught me that if I can sit there and listen to other people's issues and go, oh, God's going to help them, and I can be a friend and I can forgive their actions. I have to do that within my own family too. You know how we have the tendency to hold grudges in our family? Well, they shouldn't have done that to me. That was a big learn for me, is some of these things that I carried around, I had to say no. If I can forgive these strangers who have told me things that's 3 and 4 times worse than what you would think my family had done, I have to forgive them just like I can look at these people and go, God forgives and I can forgive. So it teaches so many things. So I would love to see that transparency and that love come into our church.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, thank you both for sitting down with us. I love you both. You know that.
Love you too, brother.
Love you.
And feel honored and humbled to serve here with you guys. All right.
We're glad we have y'all, both of y'all.